I will never get tired of that introduction. Good afternoon, wherever you're watching this, and welcome to another episode of QUEERZ, a TTRPG romp through the good fight against intolerance and ignorance. I am your Q Master, Mikey. And joining me this evening is my intrepid band of queeros. So, really quickly, going through the introductions, joining me this evening, first and foremost, you know him, you love him, playing Mr. Atticus, aka the Ally, is Mr. A to Z himself, Andrew. Hi, Andrew. How we doing this evening?
Good, good. I was thrown off by the you know him and you love him part. I assumed you weren't talking about me, so.
Pshaw, you know we all do. But I'm happy to have you here. Of course, also joining us this evening is he goes by Chris. His screen name is Riku, but in this game, he is known as Kyler, our phantasmal pirate. Take that with what you will. Chris, how are we this evening?
I am doing well. I'm doing well. Just yeah, no, I'm just doing well. I'm getting ready and excited for this game.
I'm happy you're here. And of course, rounding out our intrepid trio of Queeros this evening is another friend of mine. He gets to play Phineas in this game, but he is governmentally known as JT. So JT, welcome this evening. How you doing? How's it going?
It is going. We're just going back to back with this, Mikey, after a stream last night, one for today. Like, let's go.
JT is now entering that streamer life. It is crazy. It is great. Welcome to the madness that is the internet. But before we dive into this episode, really quickly, I just want to shout out Halfling Wizard Productions and check out all their shows because there is a great selection of fun folks who are either running said games or playing in said games. It's an eclectic group of individuals. So thank you for being here. And now, without further ado, let's get into a bit of a recap. So, last time on Dragon Ball Z. No, just kidding. No, but last time on QUEERZ, our intrepid Queeros ended up finding out what made our magician be the way that he is in the present, and we're able to take the memory fragment of joy that they ascertained through the memory that they lived with our young magician. And after making their way back through the not creepy hallway that was totally not filled with death and despair and just outright creepiness, I don't know what these people were talking about. We found ourselves back in the real world where our intrepid Queeros made their way to the best place that any carnival slash fair can offer in a fun house of mirrors where nothing can go wrong. But absolutely everything did go wrong because after making their way through the maze of mirrors and finding themselves in a small performance stage of the backstage area of the fun house, they mourned. You know, the best way to put it is that a fight broke out, hands were thrown, fists of cuffs were happening. uh, there was a brief moment where our pirate hero over here may or may not have been porcelainized a little bit in the cheekbone area. So that was a whole thing that happened. So it is great. It is fantastic. But through the sheer power of hero-ness and friendship and all that good stuff, they were able to break through the ignorance and to be able to kind of bring back the magician back to his prior state and is begins his healing process on the journey. Our heroes could not stay afterwards because everyone who got thrown into the mirror world started to reappear. And in order to, as the hero code states, nobody can know your true identity, they had to figure out a way to escape. And what is the best way to escape in the most flashiest way possible and totally not going to raise some questions if people saw this, but Kyler summoned his spectral galleon pirate ship to whisk our Queeros away as they were headed into the skies unknown and trying to figure out what they were going to do next. They were intercepted by some not so fun looking government type esque airships with a loud over the PA system asking them that they mean no harm. We come in peace. ET phone home, all that kind of stuff. It is is a thing that happens. So that is where we're going to pick off. So, my intrepid QUEERZ, you find yourself obviously on the spectral galleon of this pirate ship. But you know what? Before I go any further, Kyler, I have to ask this question, and I'm probably going to regret it, but it's going to be great. Have we ascertained a name for this ship yet?
No, we haven't, because I think this is just something Kyler just recently figured out for himself. He kind of just was like thinking to himself, oh God, we got to get out of here. And it just somehow manifested itself. And he's just like, that works. So no, there is no name for this yet.
Not yet, anyways.
Not yet.
More to come. People watching, if you have some fun ideas, leave them in the chat, or naturally we'll call something. I have lots of ideas, but I am the Q master and I am not the player. I want this to be a group effort. So this is like that group project where eventually someone will come up with the name and everybody will take credit for it. And we all pass. We get an A. Kudos to everyone. But you three find yourself on this yet to be named pirate ship, and you find yourself surrounded by what looks to be very expensive government airships. And while there is not necessarily any immediate danger, there's no a la firing the lasers at you or any cannons ready per se. You basically find yourself surrounded. It is not a fun time. So yeah, so to give you a little bit of a picture, right in the center of this airspace is your ship, and then surrounded around all sides, all ports, if you will, are these airships. And again, over the PA system, you just hear a woman's voice go, "We mean no harm. I promise you that we just want to have a parley with you." Obviously, because it's a pirate ship. So what do pirates do? Parley. Not partay, parlay. The partying comes later. Anyways.
I think we can take them. No. Just kidding.
Sorry, that was that loud. I mean, hey, you know what? You could choose to address the situation however you want. I am game.
I think Kyler would probably turn to everybody else and be like, your place or ours?
Are you asking us or are you asking them?
I'm like looking to you guys as sort of like confirmation of what to say, and he's probably just gonna say that to the other folks.
Okay.
That's stopping him, kind of like a
I mean, I feel like the benefit of them coming over to us is we have kind of home field advantage, and at least that way there's a good chance that whoever comes over here, while they're here, they're probably not going to shoot us out of the sky. And if we go over there, we don't have anybody else like running the ship, so
I can also, we go over there, I can make the ship disappear. And then reappear when we need it.
Okay. And it might
But
freak
no.
them out, but I mean,
That
it's
will
good to
freak
know you
them
have
out.
that ability.
That will freak him out, but at the same time, we're already inside a spectral spaceship spectral pirate ship flying through the air. They're probably freaked out enough, and that would probably not affect them much at all.
How spectral is this pirate ship? Can we see through it, or
I would say no. I don't think you could see through it, but it definitely does not look like your normal like pirate ship.
It's like the Flying Dutchman ship from SpongeBob, where it's ethereal, but
Yeah.
it's still solid enough. It's not like you can see through it.
it's not
Yeah.
Wonder Woman?
It's
Level.
it's yeah, no.
All of
It
a
probably
sudden, through the wind, you hear "Leetle, leetle, lee" in the wind.
it probably has like a trail of glitter behind it, and its sails are with all the different pride flags, but at the
Yeah.
same
Oh, wow.
but it is very
All
solid.
right, young cat, calm down.
Come on! I gotta make this as gay as possible. Come on.
Clip it right now.
All the clips. I'm pretty for certain that if we're in the air and they're in the air, I don't really think that this is going to bother them much. That's a lot of ships.
I'm like, yeah. So I'll probably communicate back and say, yeah, would love to chat with you because I think we have a lot to chat about.
Okay. So they
Is this
start
like
firing.
a Zoom call, or do we need to do this face to face?
Ew, not a Zoom call. So, upon you saying that, Kyler, that you guys, the group is up to meeting, them over the PA system in there. It's like, all right, well, that was easier than I thought. Hang on, I'm making my way over. And
Not
so,
downtown.
well, I mean, technically we're in the sky, so I mean,
Up, down. Girls.
yes. Anyways, so one of these airships gets closer to the pirate ship and begins the docking sequence. Out from the side panel of this airship, it opens up, and then it... How do I say this without it being an innuendo? I'm just going to say it anyways.
The two ships don't go nose to nose.
Yes, that is exactly how this goes. They go nose to nose. Be like the tips of the ship touch. Anyways. So.
It's not 7:30 yet.
We're 16. Hey, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity. This is an 18+ stream. There will be lots of... You know what? I'm allowed to say this. There will probably be lots of innuendos. There might be some dick jokes. Like, this is...
I mean, looking at some of these ships, I mean...
They are very phallic in nature.
Them,
the game is called QUEERZ, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary folks of the internet. You knew what you were signing up for when you decided to watch this. If you are under the age of 18, please come back when you are of age. Or, no, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to open that door. Anyways.
Where are your parents right now?
Or unless parents, you are watching this with your children, then welcome. We appreciate that because it is 2025. Anyways. So, a bridge forms between the airship and the pirate ship, and walking through the open latch panel of the airship comes a very well-dressed woman in a military-esque uniform. The uniform itself is in a very pristine white. It is like a coat with a pantsuit number going on, and it is adorned with the typical militaristic medals and the fringes and all the stuff and the accoutrement that come with it. So as this person gets closer, the three of you are able to kind of get a better look of the features of this. And as she kind of steps on the ship, looking very, very prim and proper, she presents herself and she says, Admiral Carmen Ortega, at your service. So, voila, here is the Admiral. She is dressed to the nines in the militaristic white uniform with the red flowy cape and hat and everything. We love a woman in charge. Anyways, so Admiral Carmen Ortega is her name. She introduces herself to the three of you. I think it would be impolite if I didn't ask, what are your names per se? Now, granted, I'm gonna let you guys decide because we never established whether you turn back into your civilian forms or if you're still in your queero alter ego. So I'm gonna let you decide whether you did or not on the way through the sky.
I'm still suited up.
Okay.
Atticus takes this very seriously.
Okay. So Atticus is still in his queero form. So Kyler, Phineas, what's about you two?
I don't think I got on the ship armored up. Like, I think I was in my civvy clothes because
you were in the civvies.
Yeah, because I gave my speech and then we like bounced, but I don't know if from
Were you suited up when you gave your speech?
No, maybe. No,
I thought you were, because
yes, I was. So I am. Yes, so I am suited up.
Sweet. And then Kyler?
I was probably suited up too when we summoned the ship. Because I feel like it would be really weird for me to be in my civvy outfit and summon it. So depending on how, I probably am still in my get up, given how much time has passed.
We were like carrying the magician, weren't we? Like,
Yes,
don't we
we
have
were.
him with us? That one-armed magician.
One-handed. He
One-handed.
still has his
Alright.
arm.
Yeah, both arms, just one hand.
He'll never be able to applaud again.
I love this. Alrighty, so you three are still in your hero personas. So okay, so now we rewind a little bit. Admiral Carmen is on the deck. Admiral Ortega introduces herself and asks for her names. She turns to you, Atticus. It's like, I dig the vigilante getup. Again, Admiral Ortega, and who you are?
You can call me Ally.
Ally. Okay. I see that we're gonna use the hero persona names. Okay, I dig that. I respect it. It's great. Turns to you, Kyler, and is like, and my fashionable pirate. May I ask what's your name or alias? I guess if we're going with either or at this point.
I should unmute myself.
There you go.
I go by Captain KP.
Captain KP. All right. And Mikey is going to write this down as well.
Because I don't think I ever came up with my name and my alter ego, and I think that, yeah.
Okay, so suggestion for your ship. Now that I know that you've gone by Captain KP, you can just call it KP Sparkles.
That is an option.
That is an option.
We're not going to say no to this. I am also writing it down. The KP Sparkles. We will workshop this as we go on. So we got the Ally, we got Captain KP, and then Admiral Ortega turns to you. And my wow, this is a lot, but it's a good a lot. My Kitsune friend, what may I call you? Real or alias? I'm fine with either or.
So I don't know if, I don't know how big I actually made the slits for my eyes to be able to see through, but you can, if she can see through the slits, you can see that Phineas's eyes kind of narrow just a little bit. And he goes, wait a minute. What did you mean by we're going by code names? Do you actually know who we are?
Well, okay. Let me see if I can phrase this in a way that's not totally suspicious.
That's kind of suspicious.
Yeah. No, when I'm asking by alias or real names, obviously I could see that you are heroes of some variety. And just between me and you three, I'm a big comic book nerd, so I know that the aliases are there to protect the identities of said heroes, so I kind of respect the thing. And you know what? Honestly, it's whatever makes it easier for me to talk to individuals. I'm not really a person that follows the rules per se, but just enough so I don't have to get in trouble for it. But it's whatever makes you feel comfortable. This is just a conversation. Granted, there are a bunch of airships, but I promise you, I bring you no harm. Just a casual conversation is all I want to have with you.
Well, in that case, you can call me Kitsune.
All right, Kitsune it is. And so you see her taking out a little notepad from her coat pocket. It's like, all right, Ally, Captain KP, and Kitsune. All righty. Closes the little notebook, puts it back in. Awesome. Well, then, now that introductions have been formally made, as I said over the airwaves, I would just like to have a conversation with you because the three of you have kind of had an eventful day that it seems that as she looks over at the magician who's kind of still in a catatonic state, leaning against the wall somewhere.
I suppose you all have a place to put someone like that.
Well, yes and no. We technically do have a place we could put them, but how do I put this? We're not we're less of a official law organization and more of a kind of peacekeeper of the world kind of thing. So there is something we can do, but we also don't believe that cooping people up in a singular room for a good chunk of the rest of their lives doesn't necessarily do anything. Think of us as like researchers, if you will. So yes, there is a place we can put him, but it's not necessarily to punish him for his crimes. It's more to research this phenomenon of ignorance and things of that nature.
So what you're saying is you're not going to lock him up, you're going to experiment on him?
Pretty much.
I don't think that sounds as good as you think it sounds.
Look. And she as Admiral Ortega kind of just darts around, she kind of goes through her collar and she presses her little comm that's on and she flips it. So the comm is on the outside of her collar, so you guys can see. So it goes from a kind of green color, it goes to a red. So she flicks it off, and so now the comm is off. And she just says, look, if I'm being completely honest here, I am trying to keep the powers that be to not have to dig further into this and try to look. I'm just trying to protect this because I think Mother has other plans for this individual than anything.
Hold up. You think who has other plans?
Mother. I know you three have met her already.
And how would you know something like that might happen?
Well, let's just say that I have somewhat of a connection to Mother, and as she kind of adjusts the collar a little bit, she pulls it down. So again, she's kind of facing you, so her back is towards the airships, but as she pulls the collar down, you can see that around the neckline is a locket that is in the shape of a heart, which is very similar to the heart that you guys saw in the inner space of the magician, and also is of the same ethereal color set of Mother and her gigantic woman form and fashion and things like that. So yeah, trust me, I know it doesn't seem like it right now, but I truly am an ally of hers. But open airways is not necessarily a good conversation we can have. We can either meet somewhere inside your ship, or we can go into my private quarters where only I'm allowed in to continue this conversation. But we need to make it quick. The longer this comm is off, the more they're going to get suspicious.
All right. I mean, you've piqued my interest. What do you guys think?
With what she apparently knows, I think this is something we can trust.
Agreed. I'm pretty for sure this is going to be really interesting, but let's see how this goes.
Alrighty. So again, if you want to have this meeting down below deck, that is fine with me, or we can go to my private quarters. I am okay with either or. And the choice is yours.
If we turn this guy over to you, is part of your goal to rehabilitate him?
Yes, rehabilitation, I think, is the best word to describe it, but it works differently than what the common society thinks of rehabilitation when somebody does wrong. I mean, granted, you guys are literally suited up superheroes. So it works a little bit differently.
Okay. I guess do you have like a captain's quarters on this ship, or should we go?
Oh yeah, I have my private quarters on the airship, and given the fact that I am admiral of this fleet, I comes with the special privileges and privacy. But again, if you are a little wary, I understand that, and if you're more comfortable with going down deck below here on this ship, I can also do that as well. I'm here to make this more easygoing and comfortable for you three.
I'm okay with either. However, I don't know exactly what is below deck for this ship. I this kind of just manifested from my abilities, and I kind of we haven't had a chance to explore it all yet.
Oh,
I
so
don't.
you just got you oh, this makes it even more interesting. Okay. Then how about we go on mine then? Because at least I know where my quarters are.
That sounds like a good idea.
Well, we
Cool.
can use the transfer of this individual as another reason why we're coming to your ship.
Yeah, we could talk more. You can bring our friend over here. And yeah, just follow me. And then before she goes to reach for her comm, she says, "Trust me, I'm on your side." And then she clicks it back on. Alrighty, gentlemen, it seems that we've come to a small agreement. So let us board my ship and we will talk more in my private quarters. And then she signals on. She's like, "Admiral Ortega coming aboard. Please prepare my quarters for our guests and make sure that we have the chamomile ready." And she turns around and she kind of extends her arms out, signaling for you three to kind of make your way across the bridge, so to speak. And so the three of you get on, cross the bridge into the ship with her following you right behind you. And yeah, so as you enter the ship, the thing that kind of stands out to you three as you're taking this all in is that the inside of the ship, despite the size of it being more of a cylindrical shape from the airship, it's still pretty wide in here. There's a lot of room inside of this airship. And from what you can tell, there are two decks inside. So you are currently on the first floor deck, and then above you is the second floor. So as you are walking through, it's the kind of the typical things you normally see in these types of airships. You see cargo supplies, you see personnel running things on computers or on running around with paperwork and things like that. You see engineers working on stuff, mechanics fixing up small drones and things like that. It's very militarized. So think of any type of military branch, whether it be movies, television, anime, video games, you name it. This is your stereotypical all hands on deck military operation inside of this airship. But as you guys go up to the second floor, it is less packed and less crowded as it's more of kind of tables and just resting areas and couches with a few office doors. And you guys make your way down this hallway on the second floor deck. And at the end of it, you reach a metallic door with a pin pad, which the admiral kind of punches in a couple of numbers. And she also offers her eye as there is an orbital scan for it as well. And the three of you here, identity confirmed. Captain Carmen Ortega, welcome, or Admiral Admiral Carmen Ortega, welcome back, Admiral. Your chamomile tea is ready for you and your guests. Thank you, Iba. I appreciate you. So she walks in, the door opens and says, "Well then, after you three, and please do make yourself at home. It's a lot quieter and it's a lot nicer in here." So she kind of leads the way in. The three of you are on the precipice of the door, so I'm gonna assume the three of you also walk in as well.
Yeah,
Sweet.
Atticus is going first.
Open the
I
door.
assumed. I'll also be. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Cool. Are we bringing what's his face with us? The magician.
That is up to you guys. If you want to bring the magician into the captain's quarters, if you just want to leave him hanging outside, it's up to you.
We can pass him off. There's got to be like crew people there or something. I think. Oh, this guy probably could use a hand with some of the issues he's having.
Okay. And Admiral Ortega just goes, "Alrighty, we could definitely make sure he's taken care of while we have this conversation." And she kind of just, with her baton, she kind of just stamps the floor, and like very comedic fashion, just two grunt soldiers come into frame. It's like, and she's like, "Please make sure that our guest here is taken care of. Take a look for any wounds, patch him up as best as you can, and just make sure that nothing happens to him." So the two grunts just salute. They take the magician away to go get patched up and to watch him and take care of him. "Now then, let us go inside where it's less chaotic." And so the four of you, so Admiral Ortega and you three enter into her private quarters. So as you enter in, the first thing you immediately realize is that these quarters, once the door shuts, the noise level is completely night and day. Whereas walking through the airship was full of the cacophony of variety of sounds, whether it be machines whirring, mechanical things happening, people talking. Now it's just very quiet and calm, like someone is soundproof the hell out of this room. And as you make your way down a small set of stairs, you do find yourself in Admiral Ortega's private chambers, if you will. And yeah, it's fashioned and modeled after a Zen garden. So there is floor couches with tables and tea sets, bonsai trees all over the place. The windows are very architecturally sound, kind of like of old school feudal Japanese, like panels and things like that. It is very nice and quaint and Zen, if you will. So she crosses through the room and she sits at the very end where her floor desk is at, and she kind of hangs up her coat, sits down, grabs her tea pot and her teacup, pours some stuff, drinks it. That hits the spot. Well then, please do make yourselves at home. There is teas, and if should you want any snacks or anything else, please let me know, and I would be more than happy to have it delivered here while we have our conversation. Whereas she kind of gave that air of authority while she was on the ship, now that you are in the private chambers, while there's still that air of authority around her, now it is more relaxed and her guard is down a little bit. You three are still trying to kind of figure her out per se, but it seems that she technically kept her word. You guys are in the private quarters and you can't really hear anything coming from the outside decks anymore. So now it is just the four of you and the sounds of your own voices in the conversations that you are about to have.
Oh,
So
that's going to get maddening real quick.
and so please do make yourself at home. And she kind of like a person who is hosting guests at their house, like, please make yourselves at home.
I'll pick one of those red seats and sit down on one.
Cool. So Phineas, as you walk your way over to the red seat, you kind of just, sit, and it is very comfortable. It's very relaxing. These seats have like memory foam in them, so you kind of just sink back a little bit as you sit.
Kyler's also going to take a seat down. He's also going to de-pirate at this moment.
Crazy. Alrighty, so we have Phineas still in kit form. We have de-piraterized Kyler, and Atticus, I'm assuming you're still in ally moniker.
Yeah, and so are we assuming like the room view that we're seeing is like from the entryway?
Yeah.
Okay, then Atticus will take up a position in the room where he can see the room, but also see the entryway. Like a tactical position. Definitely still keep his gear on.
I knew me and you vibed, Andrew, because I am the same way in real life. Anyways, listen, once you have a relative who works in law enforcement or any part of that nature, there are certain things that you get trained on. Anywho, alrighty, so ally, you find yourself in a more tactical position. I will say that you probably sit yourself closest as possible without being weird about it to the far end of the room where the admiral's desk is, but it also allows you to kind of see the entryway and the majority of the windows should anything go awry. So everybody finds their seat. We'll say that Kyler, you depiratize as you kind of get comfortable in the seat. And as you do so, Admiral Ortega just looks at you, Kyler, and it's like, oh, okay. Well, I appreciate you feeling comfortable enough to hero yourself, if you will. So now, who do I have the pleasure of talking to?
Kyler. Kyler is my true name, I guess you could say.
Kyler, it's a very lovely name, and I appreciate that you feel comfortable enough to do that. Of course. And she kind of looks at you, Ally, and you, Kit, and says, now, that doesn't mean that the other two of you have to. Whatever you feel most comfortable with, I promise, I respect whether you want to stay in your hero form or de-herofy yourself, but I promise your identities will not get out of this room.
That's good to know. Thank you.
My pleasure. Like I said, I'm an ally of Mother's, so I understand the ins and outs of all of this all too well, so I will do my best to keep your identities safe. And so she kind of just sips her chamomile tea. Please do try the tea. It is very exquisite. I just had recently had this picked up through my travels abroad. So as you guys kind of partake into the tea and things like that, there is a couple of minutes where it is just nothing but the sipping sounds. It's kind of like that awkward conversation when you first meet someone. You guys are just like, ooh, like, the snacks are kind of great right now, trying to find ways to make small conversations. But after a couple of minutes of that, Admiral Ortega just goes, now then, I'm sure that you three have questions, especially given the fact that you were very surprised when I told you that I am a ally and a friend of Mother's. So, I will tell you this, I am an open book, especially when it comes to things of this nature. So I will do my best to answer anything that is within the realm of my knowledge. So, and she turns to you, ally, first, and is like, especially you, my little vigilante. I can tell that you are the more tactile type of person. So, let me start with you. What would you like to know?
How long has your organization been following around people like us?
Alrighty, so that I can definitely give to you. So, first and foremost, before I tell you how long, I should probably give you a brief rundown exactly what we are. And so, Carmen puts her teacup down and she kind of just sits back a little bit. So, to begin, the organization that I find myself being a part of is, well, it's known as the Covenant of Order, which is a subsidiary government faction that is monitoring the the appearance and the activity of what I guess for all intents and purposes are the queers and the powers that come with the rainbow empathy. Um, so this government organization is fairly new. It has only been around for 5 years. And again, with the emergence of this phenomenon known as ignorance and the worldwide phenomenon that comes with people like you who have awakened to some sort of otherworldly, other earthly superpowers and basically are living out a comic book fantasy in the real world. So, yeah, this the goal of this organization, at least from what I have come to understand, is that they monitor the queers activity around the world. But of course, as most government officials offer, that's as far as I know. Now, given the fact that I am an admiral, I do am privy to certain other information, but of course, higher ups being higher ups don't share everything. So that's where I'm at in terms of my role as admiral of this fleet and a member of this Covenant of Order organization. Dang, my explanation was crazy that it booted Andrew out. No!
He was like, government officials for queers? Yeah, bye. No.
He's like, I'm out. Bye. Can't believe it. How dare he? So now I will preface by saying this. So this information, because we're in this room, that is everyone is hearing this information. So dang, Andrew, like that information was crazy that it booted you out of the system. Anyways, so
Atticus fell
in
asleep
case you
while I
missed
was-
any of that,
Well,
damn it, Atticus. It's like, all right. So quickly to recap, Carmen is a part of the Covenant of Order, which is a government faction monitoring the emergence of queer activity and the emergence of the rainbow empathy and people becoming queeros, essentially. The organization is still in its infancy stage, only being around for 5 years. She knows some information, but she doesn't know everything because the founder and the head honchos of said organization probably hold all the keys to the kingdom, so to speak. So she knows some things, but not everything. And so she turns to you, ally, and goes, I hope that was as condensed. I hope that will suffice. I mean, I could go into the history and everything, but then we'd be here for ages. So, but that's like the Spark Notes version of it.
that'll do for now, I suppose.
All right. Well, then in all fairness, and she turns to you, Kit, and goes, "You, my friend, in the interesting Kitsune getup, is there anything that you wish to know?"
Yeah, actually. Since we're in said private quarters, what's your hero form look like?
So Carmen kind of gives a small chuckle and just laughs a little bit and says, "You wish to know my hero form? Well, I do appreciate the question, and I think I can share this with you." And so she kind of holds onto her locket a little bit, and she takes it off, holds it in her hand, and you see that her heart locket begins to pulsate with this kind of uh chromatic aura and light from coming from it. But as it lights up and it begins to build intensity of light in the room, it kind of goes back down a little bit. It's like, "Ooh," like it's shutting off. And so, and then it goes back to just being a regular necklace. She's like, I don't necessarily, I haven't made it that far. And so she kind of turns and says, for whatever reason, I cannot turn into a hero form, at least not yet, anyways. But, and she kind of pauses a little bit and just thinks, I think I can tell you this. Sometimes, sometimes when people are in touch with the rainbow empathy, at least this is how Mother explained it to me, there are extenuating circumstances that will awaken the power in oneself in order to become a hero, a queero, if you will. Now, I am in tune with the rainbow empathy, but there is still something within that has not allowed me to break through to gain a hero form. But that is okay because I understand, and again, Mother explaining this to me, some people are in touch with the rainbow empathy and are more attuned to the plight of others, but something, and I do not know what causes it, but there is circumstances that will cause a person to, I guess the best way to put it is to rip off whatever mask they are holding to become a hero in their true form, in their true self. So one day I hope to have a hero form, but unfortunately I cannot do what you three have been capable of doing and gain a hero form. But one day I hope. So until then, I'm doing what I can in what I am currently doing as an admiral to kind of keep an eye on the queers activity around the world and reporting anything I can find to Mother as well. I hope that suffices as an answer. I wish I can give you more.
That works. That's a pretty cool little locket you've got there, too.
Why, thank you. It was a gift from Mother, and it's a connection to her should anything arise. It allows me to communicate with her when I need to, or most so when she needs to communicate with me. So then, Kyler, in your regular civvies clothes, if you will, Admiral Carmen turns to you and says, and now, Kyler, is there anything that you would like to know about anything, really?
I guess the only thing I would be interested in is and maybe this wouldn't be something, I don't know if this is something you can answer or how much you've been tracking us, but why us?
Do you mean to ask why you were given these powers and are able to become heroes?
Yes. I did, and in particular, us in specifically, like,
Well,
Kyler's just a little confused. It's just being a little bit introspective about himself and why he was chosen for this and not somebody else.
oh, my little heart. No, so upon hearing the sincerity in your voice, Kyler, the three of you do see Carmen's body language kind of shift from a relaxed conversational to not a motherly, but more like a sisterly kind of vibe and aura now, where she is empathetic to the sincerity of what you're asking, Kyler. And so she gets up from behind her desk and she slowly walks over to you, Kyler, and without even uttering a word, she non-verbally asks for permission to sit next to you if it's okay with you.
Absolutely.
Cool. So Consent is key, ladies and gentlemen, even in TTRPGs. Anyways, she, with the approval, she sits down and she kind of just looks directly into your eyes, Kyler, and just says, I'll tell you this, and I'll share a personal story. When I was a little girl, I've always wondered what the world could offer, and I've always wanted to make a difference in the world. And so I started to train to become a military officer. I found myself working hard, growing up the ranks, and now I find myself an admiral of this fleet. And I want to continue to help the world. But then things got a little bit complicated when, about 5 years ago, when QUEERZ came to be and people were awakened to these hero powers and making the difference and fighting this force that has been named ignorance, which comes in all shapes and forms from what my understanding. I don't know 100% why certain people are chosen to become heroes and to be given the powers of the rainbow empathy and are allowed to form these alter egos and to kind of do different things and fight the powers of ignorance. But there is something my abuelita once told me a long time ago. She told me that regardless whether in big ways or small ways, it is the job of every person on this planet to, and at least this is what she thought, to leave it better than once, to leave it better once we go than when we arrived here. So whether it be that we're here as some divine providence, we are here to make a change in the world. The rainbow empathy, it works in mysterious ways where it senses an inner warrior, if you will, whether you want to fight for yourself, you want to fight for someone, when you want to fight for others, or even for the ideals that you believe in. The rainbow empathy tends to select individuals that have that will, that strong desire to make a change, to protect those who can't, to fight the good fight, if you will. There can be a variety of reasons. But from what I come to understand, that is a journey that you're going to have to find out. I can give you all these different reasons, but it isn't until you look introspectively and that you kind of look into yourself and look into what you value the most, what you stand for, what matters the most to you. And then I think that way it can help you find your reason. I can give you a million different reasons, but I truly think that no one should give you a reason to exist or to do the things you do. You have to come to that decision on your own. I know that sounds a very cliche answer, but I do truly think that the more you tap into these powers and the more that you discover about yourself, I think you will come to your own conclusion as to why you were given these powers. Now, I can say this for certain. It was never a mistake that any of you three were given these powers. There is something within each and every one of you that has that strong desire and that strong will. But what that is going to have to be a conclusion you three come on your own, whether it be together and even on your own personal journeys outside of being a hero. But I do know this is that the journey in this is never one where you complete it on your own. I mean, you three have found each other, and Mother also has supported you in this journey. You've met her, you've had a conversation with her. She bestowed these powers upon the three of you. So, there is support in all of this, but you have to come to your own conclusion as to why you were given this. But I believe it was also a comic book hero that I once read about too, that with great power comes great responsibility. So you also have a responsibility to use these powers for the benefit of others and not for your own selfish desires. Because trust me, and she kind of looks around. Sometimes when people awaken to their queer powers, they can use them for good. But within the 5 years, we have also seen some who have used their powers for selfish means, for their own benefit, for the destruction and, causing the despair of others too. So it's a very sensitive power. It's a very sensitive scale where any which way can throw the world in unbalance. So I know that's not necessarily an answer that you would like to hear, Kyler, but that's just my personal viewpoint on things. But as long as you continue on your path and you never give up of discovering who you are and why you were given this, and you use these powers for whatever you want to do with them, I think you'll come to your own conclusion. And she kind of just smiles as she kind of finishes having this conversation with you.
I appreciate that very much. And you do see him kind of just bobbing there a little bit, as if he's just... He was listening, but some of the words kind of just triggered his ADHD. And when she said, I could give you a million reasons, Pink's just give me a reason popped into his head, and he started listening to it in his head and started bobbing around to it. So
that is so real.
Totally not projecting myself onto this character, but
oh, don't worry, we have a whole campaign. I will break you. I'm just kidding. No, but she just sits there finishing up, and she kind of just, she allows herself physically to stay near you, Kyler, knowing that, you know, this is a lot to take in, but her body language is very postured in a very open stance, so it's not closed off in any way. And from what you can tell, she truly means what she says. She's not a woman of fancy language and flowery words. She is able to kind of, this is what she truly believes, and then her in the depths of her soul, this is what she believes.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
And she kind of just slightly nods, stands back up, and walks over back to her desk. And she says, I know there's a lot of questions that you might have. So let me see if well, I think it's only fair, since you asked your questions, I can give you some other information too. So, as I've mentioned before, I have met Mother. I have talked to her before, and this little locket allows me, well, more so for her to communicate with me. But, and she looks over at you, Ally, and she says, I know when we were on the ship earlier, you were asking about the magician that you three kind of took aboard the pirate ship, and asking about what kind of rehabilitation was going to be happening with him. And that's a little bit of a complicated one. So if you're okay with it, I would like to explain what the Covenant of Order's goal is, and how they go about doing the rehabilitation. And then I'll give you exactly where that conflicts with what Mother is looking to do.
Do they have the ability to give his hand back?
The sound of one
Good
hand
question.
clapping. So she says, yeah, so I didn't want to say anything about that, but I noticed that he was missing a hand.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
So we don't talk about the hand.
Yep.
Kind of a hands-off subject.
Yep. Yeah.
A la Adam's Family, you just see
Just be a little thing.
you just see thing running across the screen. Oh, what is that?
You know, I would be okay if I ever ended up having Kitsune had a like a little, like, if you guys could make the hand into an anatomical puppet or something. Yeah, I'll take that as my pet.
Speaking of which, the little dust spider pops on your shoulder, Ally, and saying, because we still have the spider.
I thought he was piloting the pirate ship. What's going on?
Oh, that's exactly what he's doing. You all look out the window and you all see the little at the helm of the captain shit, you see like stacked on a bunch of books is the spider going. Like you see the little spider at the captain's wheel with a little tiny version of a captain's hat on. See, the spider sees the three of you looking out the window. It's just like and waves at you. That is
If that gets too much, keep in mind I can unsummon it.
You just hear the spider go.
I'm
it's
watching
just a
you.
spider, it'd probably like float around for a while. So
That's true. It is kind of like a dust-esque spider, so it just like floats in the wind. It's like no. Anyways, after you three look out the window to see the spider kind of manning the ship and keeping it in the air, Admiral Ortega goes, "Wow, that is a very talented spider." Anyways, so back to what we were discussing. So the order, so the Covenant of Order and Mother both want to rehabilitate those affected by ignorance, but they go about it in two different ways. The Order would like to study these individuals to understand the reasons as to how, why they became the way they were. They want to study the power of ignorance in a more scientific approach to it. So while this person will be rehabilitating, the Order wishes to observe them and their progress in a scientific manner. Mother, on the other hand, also wishes to rehabilitate them, but the word rehabilitate is not necessarily the correct way that she goes about it. She, from what I understand, is that those affected by ignorance, once they break through, the way to kind of quote unquote fix them, if you will, has to come from within their own power. You all had the experience of the inner space, which is the most inner part of an individual's psyche and their soul, if you will, their body, their mind, and their heart, if you will. And it takes the form of a variety of things, which includes the form of their ignorance, shaped by what they do, who they are, their personality. And as I'm sure the three of you saw, it also allows you to see the moment that kind of was a pivotal point in their lives that kind of set them on this path that we currently find them in. Mother believes that once that ignorance is broken and with the rainbow empathy has touched, so to speak, the soul of this individual, they must come to terms with what they did, make amends for it, and then try to set themselves on a path that will have them grow and change. So the change and the rehabilitation is more of a self thing with the support of, well, the QUEERZ, if you will, the people who got to understand the person affected by ignorance, got to see the innermost core memory, which they probably don't share with a lot of people. And because the three of you were the ones to make that and break that ignorance, it's more so kind of being a support system as they try to make amends and change. So both the Order and Mother want to go about it in two different ways. The Order is more of a scientific approach of it, whereas Mother wants them to fix or to help them ease their soul and to have them have a change of heart. So basically, like stepping out of character really quickly to kind of summarize all these points. From a scientific approach, the Order wants to do research, to observe, and to make scientific discoveries as to why this person was affected by ignorance, and then observe their behavior and their change, but in more of a sterile kind of research scientific environment. So if anybody is used to any type of medium, whether it be movies, television, cartoons, video games, that have characters that come from scientific laboratories, you know it can either go really good or it could go really bad. On the other side of things, this is not a real 100% comparison, but the idea of kind of like restorative justice is Mother's approach, where it comes with making amends and then also having a change of heart, not just in what they say, but in what they do. Because a true 180 in an individual is that they apologize, they understand what they did was wrong, but then actions have to be put in place where they try to make that change. But at the same time, there has to be a support system, but it has to ultimately come down to the individual themselves. That if they truly want to be and change, that change has to start within them. And then they have to figure out how they go about doing that, but also offer a support system from the queers to kind of help them on their journey of self discovery. So one is a scientific approach that is more research and analysis based. The other one is, making amends and the individual kind of taking those steps to make the change themselves with the support system that they need. So technically, both of them are there to observe and to kind of rehabilitate, but those are the two different paths. I hope that makes sense.
It do.
Cool. I spent like 3 days trying to figure out a way to explain all this lore without like spending 30 minutes explaining it.
I and what are the chances that these people studying these individuals are trying to weaponize what they're capable of?
The Admiral Ortega kind of sits there and thinks, let me make sure I understand. So, I'm sorry. Are you asking exactly what are the chances of the Order understanding more of this? Is that what you're asking?
I'm asking if part of the reason why they're so interested in studying what made these people capable of doing the things that they're doing is the hope that they can harness that and control it.
So, well, officially, what we have been told is that they want to just more of a scientific approach to study it. But if I'm speaking not in the role of Admiral and more of my individual thing, I'm pretty sure there are more underlying motives to this as well. But of course, with me being here, I have to play the part of the Admiral and be here to follow orders. But I also am trying to find more information for Mother as well. So it's a fine line that I'm trying to walk. I do love what I do, and I truly think that the Order does have some good points. But I am not 100% on board, and I am not privy to everything, and that's what I'm trying to find.
Um, oh, that makes me feel great.
Warm and fuzzy.
I know that's not the answer that. Trust me, that is not the answer I wish to give, but unfortunately, that is the information that I have at hand. But again, I'm trying to figure out more for all of this.
So, what was your ultimate goal confronting us now and having this meeting with us?
Well, think of it as more so to kind of, again, on paper, you three awaken to your powers. The Order is interested in that. On paper, it is just a conversation to let you know this is what we stand for, this is what we do, the yada yada yadas of it all. But more so, since I have you three here, I do have to tell you, and this is a message from Mother herself, that the world as we know it is at a tipping point. There have been some small progress, and the number of people being affected by ignorance has staggeringly been increasing. And more importantly, there's also a lot of people who are awakening to these powers as well. But there's something more sinister here that's causing the balance of the scales, like I mentioned before, to tip in the favor of ignorance. So I, playing double agent, if you will, are trying to get this information to give to Mother so she can figure it out. But of course, not having a hero form does make it a lot harder because I can't fight ignorance head on in the way that you three can. So my goal here is I'm just playing the messenger, and I am just more of an auxiliary, if you will. I'm the information person. I'm trying to get info to pass on to Mother and try to keep her informed of what not only what the order is doing, since the order is tracking everything, they also have the means to do so. I know it's a lot. That's a lot. It is a lot for sure, but there's something at work. I don't know what that is, and to be frank, I don't even think the order knows what that is. Mother has her hunches, but she only knows so much. So I'm just here to give you this message that the world is at a tipping point and that this increase in ignorance is probably going to get more out of hand if it's not taken care of. So that is where I am at with this, which now comes to the ultimate thing, which I was hoping not to get to, but unfortunately, I kind of have to in all of this. I want to help you three. I want to be of assistance. And like I've shared with you, I am a person who believes in what Mother is doing. But I also have to tell you that I still have to play the part of Admiral to keep up appearances. So while I believe in what Mother is doing, the higher ups here at the Order don't necessarily. They have ulterior motives. I think there's more than just trying to see the rehabilitation in a scientific manner. Like I said before, I think there are a few people who would like to weaponize it. So I can be of assistance to a certain degree, but I can't necessarily be 100%, and I can't give up my cover, if you will.
So then what's next?
Well, I can lay out the options and we can go from there. Now, there are a few, and when I say few, I mean like two. There are some other Queeros who have gotten the same spiel when they awakened to their powers and they decided that they wanted to become, you know, agents of the order and use the powers for that. However, that comes with having to follow the rules and to be part of the quote unquote government. The other thing that you can possibly do, and again, this is all on you three and how you decide to go about it. You can just work individually, independently, and not be a part of the order. But if you work independently, while I can feed you information, I still have to play the part. So, should the order notice you three when it comes to the activities of the Queeros in Chrysalis Bay, only do so much to protect. So, there may be a chance that you may come face to face with the order. But again, how you want to play the hero part is up to you. And this doesn't have to be a decision that has to be made now. Take some time to think about it, and then once you have selected your side, you can always reach out and just need to make that decision. It doesn't have to be something that needs to be decided on now.
You're having a little bit of mic issues.
Hang on, let me do this. Is that better?
Yay!
It sounds better.
Fine. I just took off my little thing that drowns out the noise, so we'll be okay. All
Just
right.
put your hand in front of it the entire time. You'll be fine.
From the gist that I got of it, I'm pretty sure I know the direction that Atticus is going. So,
Yeah, so once again, Spark Notes version. 2 options. Be like some QUEERZ and join the order, or work as independently you can.
do we sign the Sokovia Accords or do we not?
I mean,
Oh.
I'm not gonna lie and say wasn't part of my inspiration, but Andrew, you know how much of a big comic book nerd I am. But basically, yeah, those are your 2 options. Either you become agents of the order and, work for the government, or you don't sign the accords and you work independently as vigilantes of some sort.
Yeah, I think, I know what that direction Atticus is going. Okay, so in character. So are you expecting this answer from us now, or are we allowed to, get back on our ship with our, I don't call him prisoner, but detainee, and go on our way, or what? What are your higher ups expecting of you?
Be like, I'm afraid I can't let you leave. I'm just kidding. No.
Atticus
So
refers to summon a sword.
no. So Carmen looks at you 3 and says, "You do not have to make the decision now. You can have some time to think about it. But I would not take long to make said decision. Personally, I am support either way. Whether you join the order is fine. Whether you want to work on your own independently might even be better. But it is a choice that you have to make."
Yeah, I just don't want to put you guys on the spot here. I have to know the direction that I'm going, but I don't want to. I think it's best if we have this conversation on our own.
Agreed. Before we go, remind me again. Your amulet. It can contact Mother, correct?
It can, on occasion. So I can contact her and she can contact me, but it's not like a walkie-talkie where I can do it anytime. But, let's try this. And so she kind of takes her amulet off. She looks at you, Kit, and so what you have in mind?
I guess I'm just trying to... I want to know that everything that is leading up to this point is believable. Because currently, right now, and I get weird feelings every once in a while, and this is making me feel really weird. I'm on your ship with our handicapped compatron.
Handicapable.
My apologies, handy-capable, and 2 other companions here. But we have to choose if we're going to go with column A or column B. You're both, but you're representing column A. I want a voice from column B. So if you have the ability to get Mother to hopefully answer questions on the other side, that might sway all of our votes a little bit better.
I see what you mean. All right, let me see if I can contact Mother so we can get her voice in on this whole thing. And so Carmen kind of takes the amulet. She just holds it up. She closes her eyes a little bit. Mother, if you can hear me, please, we need your guidance. And her amulet begins to shine with the intense chromatic light again. And basically, kind of like a like a holographic communicator device, you just see a virtual image of Mother kind of just standing there, and and the virtual mother on this little device says, "Wow, and Carmen, it's been a little bit since I last talked to you. What's the occasion?" "Well, Mother, how do I put this? I have you three of your Queeros here." And she kind of turns the amulet around so Mother can see the three of you. And Kyler's waving. I love it. And so I've kind of given them the spiel of they can either be a part of the order or work on their own, but they also wanted to hear from you as well. So um I'm gonna let you do that. I see. And so holographic mother kind of so okay, so Carmen puts the amulet on the floor and holographic mother again grows in stature, but it's more of like the right size of a regular adult per se. And so she holographically walks around the room. She can see the three of you. My dear children, is it seems that you need mother's guidance, or more importantly, it seems that you have questions. And she turns to you, Kit. What seems to be troubling your mind?
I think the troubling aspect that I've got is it's the uncertainty. I'll be honest. Because now I'm staring at a holographic variation of Mother in a huge flying tube. And I don't quite know where to go.
So, if I understand you correctly, Kit, you wish to ask and for me to see if I can help you decide a path you wish to take and what you should do, and you want an advice of where to go.
Upon hearing my name, I look over to Kyler and Atticus just real briefly and look back to Mother. Yeah, where should we be going?
Oh, my children, I. And she kind of pauses a little bit. Again, I wish I could tell you what you need to do, but ultimately that decision has to be up to you, which I know is not an answer that I know you do not want to hear. But allow me to explain. I'm sure that Carmen here has explained to you what her motivations are and the reasons as to why she does it. And if I am to be correct in my assumptions, I believe the same way as her. When you are in life, we have to make the decisions and we have to decide who we want to be at the end of the day. And there is no wrong option here, but it does come with different circumstances. You can choose one path, you can follow the rules, be more structured that way, but you risk the loss of self and conforming to what you need to do. On the other hand, you can be independent, you can be a free spirit and do things on your own. But there also comes a risk that being on your own and doing all of this can push you to a point where you may not recognize yourself because there is nobody guiding or to limit in what you are going to do. But what I can say is this: whatever option you choose to do, you must decide what you want to be at the end of this journey. I am here to support you in whatever aspect and whatever decision that you make, but you have to decide what's most important to you. more structured approach that might risk in you becoming a conformed and unified person without a sense of self? Or do you choose the path of freedom that allows you to develop and to come to your own understanding about the world, but comes with the risk of losing the ideals for more worldly matters and for worldly gains and for a lack of protection? I am here to guide you and to give you any advice that you need, but unfortunately, it is not my place to tell you what you need to do. You must come to that decision on your own, and you have to decide what kind of hero you wish to be at the end of the day. What do you fight for? Who do you fight for? What is it that you wish to leave? What kind of legacy do you want to abide by when all is said and done? And she kind of just, Mother stands there in her ethereal holographic form. My children, you are, you have been given such incredible power. And I am truly proud of everything you've accomplished thus far, breaking through the ignorance and helping this magician see that his way of thinking was leading him down a more destructive path left unchecked. But now you must decide, how do you want your story to play out?
Well, if we're choosing, I've never been one to conform. So I would prefer to do this with friends and other people, but I'm going to do this on my own.
Mother kind of smiles and says, if that is your choice, my child, then I fully support you. And Carmen also smiles a little bit and just knowing that this is not her place to talk, and so she kind of just nods. Holographic Mother now turns over to you, Ally. My child, my tactician, what is the path that you choose?
I don't think there was ever a question. I know it needs to be done, and it's in my family's way of doing what others won't do, especially others in charge. I'll do this on my own with the, no pun intended, allies that I have, but for now, the order seems to be on our side, so I don't see them as the opposition, but I'll still be in charge of myself.
You have chosen your path, my child, and I 100% fully support you. And then Mother turns to you, Kyler. And my sweet, sweet child.
Why does that sound like an insult?
My simple,
No,
simple child.
she didn't.
It's
She
like
didn't
it's
call
the
me
it's
summer
the
child.
it's like the equivalent of, oh, bless your heart. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. That's exactly
She
what I
didn't-
Kyler's over there literally drinking the tea. What?
But like,
We're
she
not-
read you for filth. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. The shade is real. No, Mother turns to you, Kylo. It's like, my sweet child. The same question is for you. What path do you wish to travel?
You know, I've always felt that I've had the ability to really celebrate my own freedom in whatever society and whatever group I'm in, whether it is very much freeform or order. So I am going to go with the rest of my team here. and stick with what we have.
Then that is the path that you have chosen. And she turns back around, walking towards Carmen, and she turns back around to the three of you and says, "My children, the path that you have chosen gives you the freedom to make your own decisions and the path of discovering who you like to be and what kind of legacy want to leave behind. But be forewarned, this freedom does come with a price. Please make an effort to not lose yourself to what you think is right. And please never lose sight of each other. Your strength will come in the form of you relying on one another, not just in your hero personas, but in the everyday challenges that life itself will bring. I hope that you take your confidence and your courage that you feel in your hero forms, and that you are able to face the real world with the same confidence and heroism that you have shown so far. My children, know that I support you and I love you very dearly, and that I look forward to seeing your journey to see where this path leads. I must go now, but just know that should you ever need me, I am never far from you, and I will always be watching, and I will guide you to the best of my abilities. But for now, I must go." Mother turns to Carmen and says, "My sweet child, Admiral Carmen, I should say, a title that you have worked hard for. Never lose sight of what you stand for either, and it all come in due time." And with that, the hologram of Mother kind of disappears, and Carmen puts her locket back on around her neck and just looks at the three of you. "Then I think it's decided. The path of freedom is one that you have chosen." And she just smiles and says, "I truly am happy for the three of you. And as I promised, you have my help as best as I can. Now then, I think it's about time," as she looks at her watch, "I think it's about time I return you to your ship and to return your magician back to you. So, I think
Yeah, I think it's
we
only fair you hand him over.
Then let us return to the deck, and I will see you back to your ship." So the three of you follow Carmen out of her quarters, back into the ship. You see that the two grunts have been watching over the magician, who is still kind of in a sleepy catatonic state. But now, where his missing hand is basically like Winter Soldier to Bucky, like a hand and like and a top, like a prosthetic hand is now there as well. So we literally Winter Soldiered him.
Except
Without
it's the same hand that he still has, so he just has like two of the same hand.
Yes.
We only had right hands.
That's all that was in the bucket. I'm sorry.
It's like we didn't have any left hands. So Carmen walks with you three across the bridge back to the ship. And as she turns around to walk towards back to her fleet, she turns back around and says, "The journey is just beginning, my friends, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. But until then, take care." And with that, she walks back into the ship, and then the air fleet begins to disperse into the various directions, only leaving you three, you're the magician, and your spectral ship, which is currently manned by our spider at the moment, as the only thing floating in the air. So, after this conversation, the three of you having come to the decision of your own to choose the path of freedom, it's been a very long day, and I think you three have deserved to go home wherever you call home, and to kind of wind down and to kind of rest a little bit. So do not worry, we are not done quite yet. But I will say that, like an Uber, Kyler drops everybody off at their destined locations where they want to go before Kyler ultimately returns to where he is going to end up being. So let's get into the final moments really quickly. So go for it.
Were we dropping off the magician?
That is an excellent question.
I wanted to ask if there was because we didn't get a chance to ask this, but how are we supposed to get back in touch with Mother?
You know what?
Didn't we? I thought we had something that could.
You have the key.
Yeah. I got a key.
Oh no, I think the artist had the key.
No,
So-
the artist.
No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, no, stop making the DM question things. No, so you have the chromatic key, and it can be inserted to any door, which will bring you back to the inner sanctum at any time.
So can
So
we just do that on one of the doors on the spectral ship and shove the magician through? Okay, cool. We got our first drop off.
I will. Yes,
I was
we
gonna.
will.
Yeah, I was gonna say just kind of drop him off at the doorstep and turn around and walk back.
If you're old enough to ever remember returning your VHS or DVDs.
Oh
to
my
the
gosh.
rental place.
Yes.
Trying to
The Dropbox.
stuff him through the drop box.
Yeah.
Get in there!
So we
Take your
retcon
hand
it.
off.
You guys turn the key and you push him in like a VHS tape in the Dropbox. And so now he's in the inner sanctum with Mother. So he is going to be. Mother will take care of him in the
Excellent.
meantime. So this is going to be fun. So now Kyler, our Uber driver, drops everybody off at their respective locations. So let's get into some fun moments of just our characters at their places. So eeny, meeny, miny, mo, Kyler, we're going to start with you. And this is how it's going to go. So, so Kyler, after you have dropped off Phineas and Atticus at their respective location, Kyler, where would you call home for you?
So I would say Kyler kind of lives downtown. And given that he's flying a ship, he has it hover above the roof of this high-rise apartment building, where he lets himself down onto before causing the ship to essentially disappear. I want to make it as if the ship turns into a little keychain that looks like a ship that he just hangs on to his belt or something. So now whenever he needs to summon it, he just takes it off and will just toss it into the air.
Spectral ship, I choose you.
Right?
Take
I'm
a
lo-
ton. No, just kidding.
I'm really going with the Power Rangers theme of them having little miniature versions of their Zords and then just tossing them for them to grow.
Just be,
Um,
AP Sparkles, go!
Yes, love it.
Yeah.
All right.
But he's gonna actually get back down into his apartment from the roof.
So you're just on you're on the roof of your apartment building. So yeah, that's fair enough. The spectral pirate ship now becomes a keychain. And so you begin to make your way downstairs to your apartment building. And as you walk up to your apartment door, there is somebody who is currently waiting for you outside of your door. So, dressed in probably the most fashionable sense that you can ever think of, very oversized, brown kind of patchwork jacket with a bunch of piercings and things like that, is your friend. They are amazing and we love them as well. But you find that waiting at your door happens to be your friend Q.
Oh, Q. How are you?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, today has been kind of a strange thing. I remember being at the carnival with you. Then we went to the magic show. And then after that, everything is kind of blurry until I found myself at the carnival with a bunch of other people, it feels like we just took the biggest drop of like acid. And I don't know. I've lost a couple hours, more so than I normally do, but couldn't find you, so I went looking for you, and I figure, after spending a little bit of time unsuccessfully looking for you, I figured that you make your way home at some point. Not the brightest idea I've had, but hey, you know what? You got here, so apparently I'm smart for something.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad you're okay. Yeah, I kind of lost a couple hours too. I don't know what happened. Um,
Yeah, that was a strange thing. Though, and maybe this might be just due to the grogginess of everything, but I swear I saw like a pirate and a like Power Ranger slash like a Power Ranger and like I think I also saw a Japanese mythological like fox spirit. I don't know. Again, I was tripping on acid, so yeah, today's been a weird
yeah,
day. But
it
oh,
it has.
I totally spaced there. I'm telling you all this thing scatterbrain, but how are you? I know that carnival was crazy, so how are you feeling about that whole thing? Are you okay? Did you get hurt? Are you also missing a couple hours of your memory? Like, are you can see that Q is starting to get more and more like exacerbated when talking. It's just one thing after another. Be like, are you okay? Do you need to help? Can I pat you at
Yeah, and I'm fine. Thank you. Um, yeah, I lost a few hours there. I guess I must have slept walk or something, and or whatever happened, and somehow ended up on the other side of that carnival when I've passed out. Um, but yeah, no, I was looking for you as well and couldn't find you. Um, and then I thought I heard maybe like a fire truck or ambulance or something in the distance, so I tried to go after it and find out if maybe you got really hurt and tried to find you, but you weren't at any of the hospitals, so I came back to see if I can get back in touch with you, and well, here you are waiting for me. It's been a long day.
There is a brief moment where, and you see this, Kyler, there's a moment of where that over exacerbated worry kind of melts for a brief moment into a sense of relief. And then you kind of just see Q kind of go back into his persona a little bit of being this very crazy individual and just like too cool for school, but like in the best way. And it's not in an annoying way. Like, we all know one person in our lives that was too cool for school, but like in the annoying way of certain things. It's like, all right, okay, whatever. But Q is just like, Q looks at you, Kyler, and says, well, despite both of us missing a couple hours, and Q gets a little bit quiet, they tell you, I'm glad that you're okay. I was worried about you, but it seems that I was worried for nothing. I knew you could take care of yourself.
Thanks, and I'm glad to see that you're okay too. I was worried there too.
Well, uh, I'll let you go. Oh, but before I forget, and Q kind of pulls out their phone and is just like, I need to make it up to you. Obviously, the carnival was not necessarily well, I mean, it was a lot of fun, though I don't remember a couple hours of it, but I feel like we need a redo. So why don't we hang out sometime? I don't have your number, and so and kind of hands you the phone. Would you mind would you mind? And I could totally give you mine too.
Sure. Yeah. I would I like that. I think we would think it'd be a fun time out. And hopefully less weird.
I think we'll stick to maybe something not as crazy, like maybe just some lunch or even like an arcade. Oh, I hear that the new movie theater is opening up pretty soon, so maybe we can go to see a movie or two. I don't know. Let's just hang out and that doesn't involve magicians trapping people in mirrors. That was something I did not have on my bingo card today.
Yeah, maybe I think I'm gonna avoid circuses and magic shows for quite some time now.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. And so Q also pulls out a little bit of card is like, should you need some change in, wherever you want to go for food, um, I'm opening up my little food truck in a little bit too. So uh I'll give you the friend of Q discount where your first meal is on me. So
Well, thanks. I'm looking forward to it. Always love some good food truck food.
well,
But
yeah, both of you are just like awkwardly there, like, well, okay. So Q gives you his number, you give Q gives you their number. Sorry, I'm trying to remember pronouns because I wanted to make sure I use them correctly because this is the character I built. So they give you their number, you give Q your number, and after the pleasantly of exchanges, Q heads off and heads down the stairs to head outside of the apartment building. And Kyler, it is just you on by yourself in front of your door. You take your keys out, you turn the key into the doorknob, and you enter your apartment. It has been a very long day for you, but you have earned the rest. So I'm imagining you don't even get that far. You get to the couch and just kind of crash.
you just see him like he just walks over to the couch, just flops over into like one of the end pillows. But you can hear him muffle a bit in the pillow. It's like, how the fuck did he buy that?
as the thoughts of just dreamland begin to close in on your mind, Kyler, you just kind of find yourself embracing the warmth of sleep on the couch. And then we fast forward. So we go to you, Atticus. So we rewind a little bit as Kyler's dropping everyone off. So Atticus, where would have Kyler dropped you off?
Uh, what time of day is it? Would you say?
I'm gonna say that it is by this point after getting back onto the ship. I will say it is probably about early evening, which is different for everybody. But I'll say it is getting close. It's like the golden twilight hour of maybe like 5:30, 6 o'clock at night, where it's not dark yet, and the sun is just going down. So it's not super dark as of night, but the sun is setting. So we're at sunset time at this point.
Then Atticus, feeling like he knows where the person would be that he would be wanting to go and meet with, he would have Kyler drop him off near his aunt's shop, in a place where he could go, stealthily, either like rooftops or alleys or whatever, to make it to the back entrance of her shop and wait for like either if check to see if there's any customers and wait for the last ones to leave, or if she's already closed up by the time he gets there, just to make sure that basically she's alone.
So you definitely do that. You kind of just chill in the back alley. And when we say back alley, it's kind of like where in a storefront, obviously you have the front of the store where people enter, but it's not like super abandoned, like somebody's about to get stabbed in this back alley.
Sure.
But it's spacious enough where like small delivery cars and trucks come in to deliver supplies to the back of house of stores and restaurants and things like that. So very like bodega-esque, if you will. But you wait at the back entrance of your aunt's shop, and you are there for maybe about 5 minutes. And as the door to your aunt's shop opens in the back, stepping out, of course, is your aunt, who you know very well, but it is a very well put together elderly woman with graying salt and pepper hair down to her shoulders, dressed in a cardigan and just some very comfortable pants. And as she exits out, Atticus, obviously, the person that you would love to be around the most right now is your Auntie Sue. So as she walks out, because she's throwing away the trash in the back alley, she throws it away. She turns and sees you. She is startled a little bit, but without saying anything, she kind of just runs up and gives you a hug without saying anything, and without releasing you, just says, "You have no idea how worried I've been, and I've been looking for you for hours. My young one, where did you go?"
Uh, I, something happened, and it's finally happened. And he'll like lead her back in to the shop and kind of look around and make sure. I think it's best if we talk inside.
Okay, let's go ahead and do so. So Auntie Sue throws away the trash. You lead her inside. She closes the door and makes sure it's locked. Auntie Sue's door is very so to kind of pull from my experience. So Auntie Sue's is like a first-hand like thrift shop of some sort, but it's like the ones you would see. It's more like a boutique than a thrift shop, so to speak. So it's like a small boutique where it's very small. The decor is very like bohemian botanicalness, where it's like mod browns and light colors of that genre, and there's like flowers and cacti on tables and things like that, like homemade jewelry, sundresses, the work. So that is what Auntie Sue does with her time. So she locks the door. She's closing up shop. She walks to the front, turns the closed sign to the street so everybody knows it's closed. And she kind of just sits in her chair and stares at you. Well, then, it seems to be rather important of what you have to tell me. So tell me, where have you been, and what do you mean that it happened?
Just to clarify, we're brand new to all of this, correct?
At this point in time, yes.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What I've been looking for, a way to truly give back in a way that my family can't. I found it, and it's already started. I have something to show you, and I think I have a plan for what we can do going forward. And he kind of steps back into an area of the store that's not easily visible from the front windows, and then he does his full-on Power Ranger like Spectrum's Edge or whatever, and summons the sword and summons his armor over himself.
Oh my gosh, it's Spider-Man with Aunt May.
I picture like all of the light that glows off of him from the prismatic rainbow, like all of the like crystals and like wind chimes that are made out of glass, and like all the stuff in the shop that would already have that effect, like would get hit with all the light that is coming off of him. So it's just extra rainbows and extra sparkles hitting off all the the healing crystals and the homemade jewelry and the dream catchers and all that stuff.
Oh my goodness, I love it. So, to no surprise, Auntie Sue is a little taken aback, but not out of fear, but more of a genuine surprise. she stands up from her chair. She walks closer to inspect everything as you're. I'm imagining that Atticus, you're taller than Auntie Sue, so it's just kind of like she's shorter, so she's
Well,
looking up at you.
I pictured when he's outside of his armor, he's about 5'9". When he's in it, he's about 6 foot.
Okay, and Auntie Sue is very short, like 5'2", 5'3". Oh, I love it. So Auntie Sue again looks up at you. She examines the armor, and again, without saying anything, she kind of just it being a little bit harder because you are now in full armor. She gives you a hug and just says, "Oh, my sweet boy." And she kind of just lets go, and she looks through the helmet and says, "So it seems that you found whatever it was that you were looking for, it seems." And she kind of just smiles and says, "You know, when I decided to not follow in the steps of my sister and the rest of your family and what they do, I still have a few connections of my own. And I never truly knew, and this was a fault of my own. Ever since what happened to you those years ago, I've been always trying to figure out a way to keep you safe and to help you figure out whatever it is you need to make it right. But it seems that you found that on your own. So, while this isn't much, allow me to make it up to you. Follow me." So, Auntie Sue kind of walks towards a corner of the store, and on the desk is like one of those healing crystal statues. She kind of takes from her cardigan is a small little what looks to be another piece of the same crystal statue that is on the desk, but the statue on the desk is missing a piece. So she takes the crystal from her necklace, she inserts it in to complete it, and from behind the counter where this for this small little crystal statue is, you see that the floor begins to open up and reveals a set of stairs leading down into a basement of some sorts. So, as she kind of walks down the stairs, she walks down a little bit and then she pops her head back up. She's like, "Well, don't dilly dally now. I have something to show you, so it's not good to make your old Auntie Sue wait." And she kind of continues down, and so you follow her. So as you go down, it's a little bit, you can still get the light from upstairs, but then the doors begin to close and then the illumination of lights begin to turn on. And so now you are no longer in darkness, but it is in the small stairwell that the lights begin to flicker. And as you guys reach the precipice of the bottom of the stairs, in front of you and Auntie Sue is this metallic door. And after pulling out another crystal and kind of inserting it into, because on this door, it is like think of it, this is kind of like the zodiac signs a little bit on this door. And so she puts in the crystal that finishes like the for the star signs for like the zodiacs to complete the whole picture. The door begins to light up and then it begins to open. And so as the doors open, there's a brief moment where the both of you are blinded by a change in the intensity of light. But as you both kind of adjust to this new source of light, and you, Atticus, walk through the door first, as we have come to you be the person who is now walking through all the doors first, you find yourself in a what can only be described as a mix of that bohemian botanical decor with the technology of your wildest dreams. So let me pull this up real quick. So as you walk through the door, there myriad amongst the whole thing is what looks to be different tables. And yes, in the private chat, yes, you are in Wakanda now.
Yes.
So you are in your own workshop, which is, again, It looks to be like some sort of like botanical coffee shop, but also that is technologically and with all the advances and things like that. And as you are taking in this scene, Auntie Sue kind of just puts a. I'm assuming you're still in your. Are you
Yeah.
still in your armor form at this point?
I think maybe when he walks in, he'll take off his helmet to
Okay.
look around.
So Auntie Sue walks up next to you and says, "My sweet boy, welcome to the Sanctuary for Advanced Functionality and Empowerment, also known as the Safe Space." So, you said that you are now able to do things that you could no longer do but on your own before, and I figured this day would come. So, if you would allow me, shall we get started then?
Atticus will. I don't know. I just pictured Atticus doing the like taking his helmet and putting it back on. Let's get started. And like the door closes behind them as they like move into the room.
Love it.
Get all
So that
cinematic with it.
Yes, exactly. So that is where we leave Atticus and Auntie Sue. So finally, Phineas, we come to you. You get dropped off. Phineas, where would you have Kyler drop you off at?
That's a good one. I'm trying to time this between the barks downstairs. I'm sorry for all the viewers at home. So, yeah, I have 2 doggos, and one of them loves attention. I'm going to go ahead and get dropped off, at least for tonight, at home, I think, because, oh, Lord Almighty. So it is suburban 2-story house, if you will. A couple cars out front. That will just drop me out front.
Oh, so you very unassuming to everybody else. This is like a very typical like suburbia type of house. And because I personally know what state you live into, I can imagine how the architecture looks for this thing. Listen, anybody who has been to the Pacific Northwest of the United States knows that when certain cities and certain states were building lots and lots of multiple houses in these suburban neighborhoods, we are literally living in rectangles more than like going tall rectangles more than wide rectangles, but I digress. So you enter your house, very for all intents and purposes, and I mean this in the best way possible, very modern in the sense with the decor, very minimalist when it comes to, when you get inside. And Phineas, you kind of just plop yourself on the couch or table or wherever you at. So you're just like, oh gosh, what is happening? And you kind of just sit there and you kind of just close your eyes for a couple seconds, replaying the day that you've had. But then your thoughts are interrupted by your phone going off. And it's more like a FaceTime call than an actual like phone call with the voice. So as you look at your phone, you see that on the FaceTime ID, it doesn't even say a name, it just says your big homie just on it. Like no actual first name or last name. It's just like the homie is calling.
So here, I'll use my phone. So about the equivalent to me just kind of sitting here, or just like laying down with this like phone partially propped up. I go ahead and answer it.
I've had that happen many a times, so that is very relatable. So as you go ahead, sorry.
With the longest sigh ever as his face comes to the screen.
It's like so you answer the FaceTime call, and as you're kind of just looking at this, popping up onto your FaceTime call is somebody you are very well acquainted with. It is, I will say that you guys are friends. So, what you see on the screen is your friend, very, caramel complexioned individual with glasses and kind of just very boisterous and loud. So, this is your friend Miguel. And so you're just like, you answer it, you're like, hello, Miguel. Of course, it's like one of those comical things. It's like close to you, but then you back it up because he's super loud coming through the phone. It's like, my dude, where were you? You asked me to take you to that college party, and then I spent hours looking for you. I told you not to take. I told you not to walk around on your own. Where did you go?
Did my guy? Did I end up pre-gaming it all? Because I kind of sort of feel like I'm in a dream. Oh, by the way, while I'm answering this phone, I haven't unarmored yet.
Oh God, no! You're still
So
in
I'm
your
speaking.
community
Yeah.
mode?
So I'm still speaking
Oh Lord.
Fox mask and everything on, and as I go to, well, no, yeah, because I'd hold it with my right hand if I was doing that, and so you just see a gauntleted left hand running over the top of my face, and all of a sudden I start patting, and I can hear tink 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 against the metal rivets. I just shake my head and like whatever, and like my eyes are pretty much closed, but I know roughly where the phone is, so we're just going to keep this conversation going. I'm not even going to try and undo this armor.
I love this. Be like, just throw the whole super. So, as Miguel answers this, of course, he's not looking at the phone. He's like, "Oh my gosh, dude, I was looking for you. Look, did you break into another party city again?"
Uh, pu- uh, oh no, it. I feel like I just came out of a weird LARP convention, and oh my god, my head hurts so bad.
I told you not to pregame before the party, man. I don't know what I keep telling you this, but nobody listen. But no, Phineas doesn't listen to Miguel.
Yeah. I get okay. It, was there a carnival in town at all? I'm trying to retrace my steps here, and I'm really fucked up. It's like, what is going on?
Well, I mean, there was a carnival, but that was like 5 miles. That was like 10 miles from the campus. Oh
Okay.
God, did you walk? Did you? Oh my goodness. Okay, I think I know what happened. You pregame too hard, and then I lost you in the crowd, and then I had to look for you all over the campus grounds. And then, this kind of boisterous personality and attitude, Phineas, kind of changes. And Miguel kind of just takes off his glasses and just rubs the temple of his head before putting the glasses back on. Look, I'm not going to ask you all these questions. I can tell that you have been through a lot, is the best way I'm going to put it. But in all seriousness, my dude, I'm glad that you're okay. You had me worried for a little bit.
You see Phineas slides off the so on his so he's got his larger hat that's kind of now pushed forward just a little bit. You see him slide off the face mask and he kind of looks into the phone. I'm glad at least I've got a familiar face to talk to right now.
Yeah. And Miguel kind of gets more quieted on the other end. Look, I think when you feel better, we can retrace your steps and I can get a full picture of what went down because it seems you had a pretty gnarly time. But, you know, you know what? Never mind. Now's not the time for that conversation. We can talk about that later. I'm just glad you're okay. And next time we go out, I'm going to be the one that gets to pick the location. Something that's not going to have me getting blisters on my feet walking this campus up and down like 4 or 5 different times going through you. and looking for you. But I'm glad you're okay, Phineas. I truly am.
Brother, that means a lot. Like, seriously, right now. That is the words that I needed. Oh man, I need some food.
Well, I mean, if you're okay with it, I can come by and I can bring something for you. So,
You know, I'm
Italian or
down.
Chinese? Italian or Chinese tonight?
I stood you up. You pick the food.
All right, Chinese it is. Let me see. The number 4 combo with extra chicken.
That's it. That's it.
I know you all too well. Alrighty, give me about 20 minutes and then I'll be over. I'll see
All
you
right.
soon, my friend.
Later.
And then hangs up. So, Phineas, as you kind of sit there in, you and your house on this couch, a lot has kind of gone down with you. And the one thing that you have come to realize is that despite how much, and it's not like a bad thing, but despite the headaches that Miguel gets from, you and him going around doing all these crazy things, as you said to him, you feel that overwhelming sense of relief that despite everything and despite that crazy antics and the wackiness and letting that all kind of subside a little bit, Miguel has been your anchor for the last couple of months. So it's been a rough go, but hey, at least you get free Chinese food out of it. But you feel a sense of relief knowing that you have somebody who is going to be there, and Miguel has been the one to kind of hold you down a little bit and to kind of take care of you despite this weird rocky kind of friendship, but like in the best chaotic way possible that you two have going on. So yeah, so Miguel is going to be bringing you Chinese food. You kind of just chill on the couch and you figure, the doorbell will wake me up. So we fast forward later into the evening. The three of you kind of finally find some rest and you begin to drift off into, dreamland, if you will. And as you three fall asleep, we kind of find ourselves in the dreamscape, if you will. The three of you collectively see each other in the shared dream experience. And in front of you, at first, it's kind of just this very ethereal kind of purple and magenta dreamscape. So think of like basically the Pokemon Drowsy or Hypno using or even Jigglypuff's lullaby, and now we're in like a dreamscape of some sort. But
I'm
as
gonna wake up with marker marks all over me. I can just see it.
Jigglypuff, all three of you wake up with Sharpie on your face. Jigglypuff has struck again. It's be like the lullaby bandit has struck again. Just kidding. So as the three of you kind of look at each other within this dreamscape, and before you are able to kind of utter a word or a sentence, the dreamscape begins to shift and begins to rumble a little bit, and the overarching magenta sky begins to change into a more sinister kind of purple aura, and you begin to see the dreamscape shift into what looks to be a very cold and a very sterile type of environment. You find yourself surrounded by these Greek kind of columns and pillars and things like that. And as the three of you kind of look at this change of the scenery, right in front of you, the three of you see a shadowy figure standing on the pedestal with their back towards you, draped in this very monochromatic black coat, holding what seems to be a conductor's wand of some sort. And you just hear boom with a booming echo in this dreamscape that order must come from rules and structure. I will not allow anyone to disrupt that harmony. And you three suddenly jolt up awake in your separate spaces, and you kind of just, all three of you, sit with what you just witnessed in that dreamscape. And my friends, that is where we're going to end our session for the evening right there. So, congratulations. We made it through our first arc. You made it through the first epilogue. And now we have a tease as to what is to come for our next chapter. So we will be back because given what I do for a living, my schedule kind of gets wonky in April, especially because it's spring break. So yeah, boy, Maya is going on a vacation, kind of. So we will be back on Saturday, April 27th, which I know is a whiles away, but it is going to be fun for me because it's 2 days before my birthday. So, or is it 26?
Yay.
26, sorry, April 26th, I think. Whatever that last Saturday in April is, we will be back as we officially begin Arc 2 of this campaign, which is entitled Resonance Rewritten. So first and foremost, I would like to thank my players for being here this evening. Without you three, I cannot tell this story, and it is through your characters and you kind of playing and volleying with me as well that I am enjoying being your storyteller in all of this. So I can't do this without you, so you have my thanks. I would also like to give a shout out to Halfling Wizard Productions for allowing me to bring this game to this community. And most importantly, and he probably is going to get mad at me for saying this, but we cannot do this without the Halfling Wizard himself, Will, running the ones and twos and also doing all the promotion for us as well. So I thank him. He is my friend. And without him running the ones and twos and promoting with us, I'm just appreciative of the opportunity to be able to present the story to the masses. So thank you for tuning in so much. And as always, remember, from everyone here at QUEERZ and Halfling Wizard Productions, remember, be here, be queer, and never be afraid to be your true, authentic self. We will see you next time for Chapter 2. But until then, sayonara, adios, and is it Saturday yet? We'll see you later. Ta-ta for now.
Tiny robes he's wearing so fine, in the tavern sipping on wine, knows the secrets of the old Halfling Wizard never told. Mystic wand and a pointed hat, talks to people about this and that, sneaky tricks and a wink in his eye. Halfling Wizard makes the hours fly. Oh, Halfling Wizard in the night, casting spells to the moonlight. He can talk and he can know, in his world the magic grows. Down the road in evening light, he'll engage you, that's his delight. Readers of the stars he seeks, in a crowd he's sure to speak.